Welcome back, viewers, to another episode of ENC Question Reflection, where you learn truth, knowledge, and understanding. So today we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people forget about. I know a lot of times if it's not, within our sights, we are going to forget about it, out of sight, out of mind. But this specific topic is something that you would think people would remember to do, but they don't. They just don't. And so it is give credit where credit is due. Give credit where credit is due. Now, no, I'm not telling you to apply to fish for swimming. You shouldn't be doing that. I mean, that's what a fish is going to do is swim. So I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to give you an applause because you're a grown person walking. Unless you're, disabled or something. And, anyways. So a lot of people tend to forget to give people credit where credit is due. They sit up in here with this independent attitude like, I did this all by myself. No, you didn't. Everybody depends on everything. Everyone depends on someone, should I say. Let's say it that way. Everyone depends on something, someone. You are not independent of everything. And I think people forget about that. It's definitely a fact that people don't give credit where it's due. But I personally, think that people tend to forget that someone helped them get where they need to be. For instance, you go to a job interview and you do an outstanding job on the interview, and then you leave and you're like, I did really good. I think I got the job. You're still you're still dependent on that hiring manager to actually hire you before you can say I got the job. See, that word dependent is meaning that you are relying on something or someone. Just like a lot of women, they sit and they talk about, I'm independent. I got my own this, I got my own that. I don't need a man. There's some things you need a man for. There's a few things you need a man for. And it's the same way with a man. It's the same way with a man. No one is completely independent from anything. You're always going to rely on something or someone. There's always going to be something someone has done for you. There's always going to be something someone has put you up on, and you benefited from it. But for a person to sit back and say, you know what, I did this on my own. I'm so proud of myself. I did this. That's great. You definitely should be proud of yourself for the initiative or the effort that you put into it. But never forget how you got there. Never forget who helped you get where you are. Don't forget the people who were involved in how you got where you are. What you have obtained in that process. Don't forget about those people. You give credit where it's due. If they helped you, I'm not telling you to go public and be like, oh, this is this, and you don't have to do that, but you definitely want to let that person know, I have not forgotten what you did for me. About 5 years ago, I made a decision in my life. I said, I am never going to forget who was there for me when I really needed someone. Not when I just want somebody, but when I needed someone. I am never going to forget anybody who supports me in anything I'm doing, anything. And I mean, I got a couple of businesses. Like I say before, I got one that's a hobby. And, I got this channel. And I'll tell someone in a heartbeat, when I'm noticing that you are being extra supportive, I'm going to make it real loud and clear that I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you. That person's going to know you have not been overlooked. Now, I know sometimes there's some people that have subscribed to my channel, and because their subscription is private, I can't even see who they are. So I can't even give them the credit they deserve. So in the Bible, it talks about honoring your father and your mother. That word honor means to give credit to. And you'll be like, well, what do you mean, honor? How do I give credit to my parents? You give credit for what they taught you. Some people have parents who don't teach them nothing. They don't teach them anything. They're just, there. And nobody's telling you to give them credit for that, but you do give them credit for what they have done. Whether it was, you put me in a really bad position, but thank you for not leaving me in the rain. Maybe I grew up in the worst household ever, but at least I'm not outside in the elements. You give credit where it's doing. Yeah, I'm being a little petty and I'm nitpicking, but the point is, you give that credit to people because those people may have busted their butts to get you where you were. One of my next videos coming up, me and Eric are going to do together. It's going to be when can you be judgmental? I know a lot of people are like, well, you know what? You should not be judging and no, don't be judgmental. Well, there is a time to be judgmental. There definitely is. And so we're going to cover that topic. So not to be so quick to be judgmental, but you have to give credit to people that have been there for you. You have to give credit to people who went out of their way to do something for you, even if it didn't even cost them anything. You still want to tell them thank you. You still want to tell them I see you, I appreciate you. Because even though it doesn't seem like it means much, it really does to people. Because then you have these people that'll sit up in here and they'll talk about, I've come a long way, and I have changed my whole life, and I'm just a completely different person. And you're like, okay, and how'd you get there? Well, I had my mentors, and I had, I read a lot of books, and okay, so give credit to your mentors, give credit to those authors, keep going. I've said this so many times, and I'll always say this because I will always use myself as an example because it's my life, and I learned a lot throughout my life. So I wasn't the greatest person or the greatest molded person when I first met my husband. I didn't know much about being a woman and about being a wife. I always wanted to be married, but trust me, I didn't know anything about it. And so when people asked me, they were like, well, you've come a long way. I never expected you to be who you are. You can actually educate other people about things. How did you do that? Oh, I start naming off. Like, first person I'm naming off is my mother-in-law. I name her off in a heartbeat because I've learned so many things from her. And people like, your mother-in-law, most people that are, married, they hate their mother-in-law. I have been through things with my mother-in-law, like an actual daughter, like a teenage daughter. Like, that's my mom. That's like, she taught me a lot. And it ain't no disrespect to my biological mom. Me and my biological mom are more like sisters, than mother and daughter. So it ain't no disrespect to her or anything. And I give my mother, my biological mother, I give her credit, for a lot of different things, a lot of things that she went through. But she knows I give her that credit. And my mother-in-law knows what credit I give her. And I never don't take the opportunity to tell her I knew this because of you. And my husband too. My husband, he's listening to this video. He'll probably sit back and be like, wait a minute now. I learned a lot from my husband. And I don't know how many times I have told women who want to be married, let your husbands teach you. Be teachable. And my husband has taught me things about being a wife, but not from a woman's standpoint. More like what it is to be a man, and how a woman can be the opposite of that, so that relationship can be better. He's let me see things that maybe a scripture in the Bible or something, and I might think of it as one way because the Bible is so symbolic. It can be taken in 100 different ways. And he has really been able to help me to think and reason about it and what actually makes sense. I've actually been wrong about how I was looking at a scripture, and he's actually, now think about that for a second. So I've learned a ton of things from my husband, and my husband gets that credit. So when you honor your father and your mother, you give them credit for the things that they have done. When you honor your family, you give that family that credit for being that family. You give your teachers, and how you can really honor them is by applying the things that you were taught. If my mother-in-law had taught me things about being a woman and I didn't apply them, verbally I can give her the credit all day long, but my actions don't speak well for me. My actions show that I ain't learned anything. Because you can take in knowledge all day long, but wisdom is an application of what you know. Wisdom. You can't be wise just because you know something. I mean, you can know stuff all day long and be dumb or stupid as all get out, And that's the difference between giving credit through your conduct and just being like, thanks. There's a huge difference in it. And so you have to give credit to those people who have been there for you, who have done things for you. Even if it's that person at the bank who went above and beyond to get you this loan that you had to have, and they could have just told you flat out no, but they busted their butts to try to go through loopholes and get you that. Give them credit for it. I really appreciate, and it's not just, okay, thank you. Actually show them that you appreciate what they did. I really appreciate you doing that. You didn't have to. You really didn't have to go, above and beyond. I'm going to tell you what it does for customer service, because I was a manager for a call center and I had 25 agents who I had to teach this to. When they got customers who would be so and genuinely happy that they did something for them, it made them feel so good. So imagine the people that are sticking their necks out for you. Imagine the people who are doing things for you and going out of their way to just make sure you have what you need. Your whatever it is, you're living the life you need to be living. Maybe you have a YouTube channel like I do, and there's people that are out there helping you grow that channel. Make sure they know I see you. Make sure they know that you appreciate that, because honey, I'm gonna sit here and try to tell you, you didn't do that by yourself. All the people who actually took the time to subscribe to your channel, you ain't growing that business without them subscribers. You ain't growing that channel without them watching them videos. They didn't have to click on it. I don't care how many ads you run. They didn't have to click on that video and watch it. When them people comment on your videos, tell them you appreciate it. They didn't have to take the time to do that. I watched videos before and didn't comment before I knew really what a YouTube channel was. I watched videos before and didn't even acknowledge it. I just, watched it. Okay. Those people take time to make those videos. And I know I'm just kind of like pinpoint YouTube videos, but there's so many more things out there that people do that they couldn't have got where they were if they didn't have somebody behind them making those moves or doing things for them. You can't just be sitting up in the world acting like you did this alone, because you didn't. And I don't care who you are. I guarantee you I can talk to anybody and everybody. And I promise you there is going to be one, just one person that you haven't given credit to because you forgot what they were doing for you because it was so small. I tell my kids all the time, attitude is a little thing to make a big difference. I read it on, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give that to my kindergarten teacher because she had it above the ABCs when I used to read the ABCs backwards in school. I had saw that attitude is a little thing to make a big difference, and if I didn't see it, I wouldn't be repeating it to this day. You have to give people credit where it is due. You have to give teachers credit for the things that they have taught you, because if you didn't, you wouldn't know anything about academics. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. If there is anybody, and I mean anybody, that you haven't given credit to, that you've depended on to help you get where you need to be, and you haven't thanked them, showed them appreciation, you better make sure you do it. Because you didn't get where you are because they wasn't there for you. Just remember that. So with that being said, I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side.